A seed becomes a bush and then a tree that grows strong and resilient, but without ceasing to be beautiful and to flourish. It's an answer for complicated geographies. It's an answer for hard weather. It's a joy in the arid terrain that doesn't recognize itself as fragile. It recognizes itself as unique, with identity, and with the strength of the community, of becoming one in unity. As small clusters, creating groups, making networks, channels, and projects, they unite their yellow flowers to distinguish themselves from the distance, to transform themselves into thousands and claim an entire peninsula if it's necessary. It has its own name, one that reflects the Andes, Latin America, and all the history that brought it to life in these lands. It knows itself as unique, but also the same as the one who will come next. It knows its necessity to society, but also that it needs to the others, to grow and achieve its best self. This is RETAMA, our collective. Our first meeting was in the middle of a pandemic and through a video call. We weren't friends, but we weren't strangers either. What we shared was clear. We were young famous composers that were part of a new generation of professional musicians in Peru. But we also were educated for the most part by men who believed they had succeeded in music because they left their country to compose for a European audience and in a Western type of way. Each of us had always been an isolated retama, growing up in a hard geography, in the middle of this pandemic that forced us to become more remote than ever, but at the same time more introspective. The names of Darlene Neira, Gwendolyn Guerra, Isabela Calmet, Macri Cáceres, Yemit Ledesma, Pia Alvarado, Naid Cruz, Claudia Sofia Álvarez, and Isa Otoya were called to start this collective. We all knew that our names weren't just representing us. We all knew that by turning on the camera, we were becoming the face of the young Peruvian composers of the 20th century for the start of something that could change everything. We all came from different styles, from different schools, and from different parts of Peru. We all have different beliefs, ideologies, and points of view, but we agreed that it was in our hands to create alliances between us so that following Peruvian female composers could have a voice, a face, an identity in academic music. So this is how this seed that was created in the heart of a country, rich in history, culture, and art, but poor in education. Embedded in all of this, an identity was created. We baptized our project as RETAMA, and we identify ourselves as collective. We didn't want to continue growing in an isolated way. In Peru, do we know famous Peruvian composers? Do the girls know that they can compose scores for incredible instruments, so they can experiment with sound, and that they can build a new language every time that they want their message to be heard by others? Do they know that their work as artists is valuable and necessary for our country, for our society, for Latin America? Do they know that being a creative artist is a job and that they deserve the rights of any other worker in a decent environment that respects them? Do girls know that they can be educated as artists and that they have the freedom to decide if they want to dedicate their lives to music, dance, poetry, or writing? Does Peru knows that art is a way of transcending and loving humanity? The answer to most of this, in the majority of this country, is no. Girls don't know enough. We all don't know enough. We didn't even know this when we started RETAMA. We began to answer many of these questions ourselves with the help of each other and other famous artists around the world as we share projects, gathering spaces, music, and ideas. To be honest, Some of these are questions that we are still looking for, or perhaps some solutions for these absurd circumstances. But this time, we look with hope. And it's always best to hope with some company. Being an artist in today's world is a very risky and dedicated task. There is not a day that goes by in which one begins or stops to be an artist. The need to create, to represent is inherent to our personality. But now, let's contextualize this profession in a country like Peru, where most people work in a minimum of 8 hours per day, 7 days per week, to save money as much as we can, to deprive ourselves of a lot, with the hope to have enough in the future. But to be honest, most of the times it's not enough to even be able to cover the most basic needs, such as health, food, housing, and education. Peru is a poor country where we as artists and in general don't have support from the government. If not obstacles and constant political crises that just open the gaps between citizens. In such a context, it's natural that art is my priority. It's understandable that most parents don't want their children to be artists. It's understandable that you have to become a rebel who abandons all expectations to become as an artist. And it's also understandable that the great majority of these rebels end up being men, because come on, women have always had another role in this society, and in the most societies through history. The Universidad Nacional de Música del Perú, one of the few places in the capital where one can study music and receive a university degree, opens 3 annual vacant for the musical composition career, and sometimes it can be extended to 6 if no one else achieves the minimum results to enter to other specialties. How many of young Peruvians who want to be composers get to apply? How many of these are women? Is it really too strange to find another woman in the composition classroom? Yes, it is. Do the numbers improve if we talk about private schools? Yes, but let's not forget the context of our country. In this reality, out of every 1,000 individuals, only 14 of them can pay a monthly payment that doubles the minimum wage. So to access the privilege of a good education, many of us were lucky. Many of us had to use the family savings of many years. Many of us had to work hard. Many of us had to go into a debt, or many of us just simply had to study hard and have a lot of patience to just enter into the field vacant of those professional studies. Once inside, the story was very, very similar for all of us because we were women, because we are women. So let's go back to classroom, where many of us were the only female student in the midst of young men who wanted to be pianists, violinists, singers, guitarists, directors, and of course, composers. What is your major here? Composition. Composition? And there that was thrown every time we answered that question. That mix of astonishment and amusement, because in music, what else can a woman do besides sing or play the piano? Everything, yes, but you have to prove it every time, and proving it's exhausting. We had to be very perfectionist with our own careers, listen to a lot of macho comments about our work, and study more than usual so they wouldn't take us as fools. We had to be very careful to not be too nice or open, because that could be suspicious, because preferences. If we were lucky enough to run into a female teacher, we will find that these women were used to this scenario, that it was usual to deal with these thoughts, prejudices, and lies all the time. It didn't matter if she was a foreign, Latin American, or Peruvian woman. Our role in contemporary music, in the music scene of any style, is the same. an underestimated role, taken with little seriousness. As very sensitive, as inconsistent, as resentful, like a fad, a passing fever, as a muse but not as a music engineer, not as a creator of languages, not as a player of big, heavy and complicated instruments, not as an orchestra director, never as the one who is in charge. In order to face this stormy and grey climate, there were many brave Latin American women and Peruvian composers that came before us and who earned the respect of their main colleagues. With their own effort, with their own dedication, their own abilities and individual careers. But wouldn't it be easier to sail against these winds if we do it as a team in times like this? Wouldn't it have a stronger effect, joining all of our voices to say louder and clearer that we are artists too? That we dream of a world where we can have equal opportunities and equal payment for our work, that we want the same respect, that we want to build this new world and that we deserve it. Wouldn't it have a strong effect on the girls of tomorrow to see all of us together today? We are diverse women who deserve a safe space to express ourselves, leave our mark, to be happy with what we do without being abstracted, oppressed, or underestimated for being women. RETAMA is a collective, but we don't seek to convince ourselves that we have the same points of view. RETAMA is admiration and respect between different women who listen, share, and constantly learn from each other. RETAMA is a space where we like to connect with women from all over the world to create together, challenge ourselves together, bring out the best in each other together. We believe in unity as a better way to search for solutions, in feedback, and in learning from others. That's why interdisciplinarity and conceptualizations are fundamental characteristics of our artistic proposals. We want to tell a story and express an emotion or idea from different points of view, from different places, from different feelings, and from different languages, from different human experiences. We believe that diversity is our power as women and as humans. About to celebrate 3 years of life, our collective has created 3 interdisciplinary cultural projects, 5 interdisciplinary concerts, 2 online spaces for news regarding female composition in Peru, and interviews to disseminate the artistic work of current and experienced female composers. During all this time, we have released our own merchandising, created 3 catalogs with the music score of our projects, won an international fund that took us to Berlin in 2022, connected more than 100 female artists with each other around the world, and has finally made a name for itself in the music scene of Peru. Currently, we have many more projects and collaborations in the early stage of development. For example, we are in the process to become a non-profit organization in Peru. With each project, with each year, and with each change within our organization, we have grown as artists and as women. We realize that we have a great project in our hands, and we try to do what is in our power to continue generating the funds that allow us to move forward. We are very happy and grateful to have met so many women and collectives from many nationalities who also work incredibly for art and who believe in the sensitivity of human beings. It gives us hope and pleasure to know that we are not walking this path alone, that there are different yellow retamas around the world trying to populate the portion of arid land in which they were born. We were a handful of young women scattered throughout Peru, who, thanks to their families, referential people, and their own efforts, were lucky enough to be able to decide that they wanted to dedicate their strength, their dreams, and their love to music. But we don't want this to continue being a matter of luck. With our collective, we want young girls who are interested in music and arts to have access to close and alive references from women artists from around the world, who are currently working or creating new ways. We want them to have all the necessary information so that they can freely choose their paths and their tasks in the society. We want them to dream, to feel secure, to move forward with their own goals, to enjoy the path with love for their own roots, for their own personalities, their own styles, and finally, to expand themselves as artists, to empower themselves as women, and to never stop raising awareness among others about change, about possibilities, about being honest and true to how you want to live your life, about belief in yourself and in your dreams. Isn't that what we all, from the bottom of our heart, want?